Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 49 of the Showbound podcast. I'm your host, Michael Raskin, here alongside Ethan Cardwell, San Jose Sharks prospect, because normally I say that. But Cards, how's it going this week, brother? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Um, yeah, I'm just chilling. Kind of getting in a routine now of doing the podcast at the same time, kind of every week, and it's working out with the practice schedule and everything. So getting back from practice and then kind of doing it and then going to dinner. So I'm in that routine. And yeah, no, I'm just chilling. Just another day in the life for me. How about you? You got anything special on the go?
Well, just going back to the dinner stuff, because as we know, like I'm living here on my own, no roommates, no parents or anything. So something we talk about on the podcast frequently is how guys can't cook, but I consider myself a really good cook, and I've been making sick meals lately. I had a nice steak last night with some rice, potatoes, and salad, and I'm just sitting here like watching Netflix, eating by myself every night, but like eating like a eating like a king. Um, yeah, you're laughing at me, but I've been absolutely buzzing on the cooking lately, so that's been fun. Yeah,
Proud of you. That's good stuff.
yeah.
Get your girlfriend down there so you can cook for her or at least somebody. Get
Yeah,
invite Rochi over or something. Have some
yeah.
company.
I want to talk about Rochi, Jacob Roach, who's on the Brock hockey team, and Cardsy's like really close friend. Uh, just absolutely lighting it up so far. 2 goals in the first preseason game. He's looking real good in practice too, and obviously I didn't know him before he came to Brock, but he's a beauty. Like, how long have you guys been friends?
Me and Rochi have been boys for like 5 years now. We work out together and then we hang out all the time in the summer. Yeah. Well, he's obviously gonna be a beauty if he's my friend, right, Rask? Come on.
I don't know about that. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, he two talks in the first game. We won 5-1 in our preseason opener in Waterloo the other night. So it's been fun. And we got back-to-back games against Windsor this weekend. So the Badgers are absolutely buzzing, and I just can't wait for the regular season, man. It feels like this is the longest like preseason ever because COVID like pushed the season back a month. Like obviously you guys are in the regular season, everyone else is in the regular season, and we're just still chilling in the preseason. It's so missing that like regular season intensity, but
Yeah.
we're getting there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and man, that kind of makes me think we have a CBC game on Saturday actually against
Okay.
uh against Ottawa at home, so it'll be a nationally televised game. So really looking forward to that. That'll be
That'll get the
sick.
boys fired up. Yeah,
And
that'll be
I
good.
guess I guess our game on Thursday is going to be kind of huge too because we got Rask in the crowd in Niagara. So at the Meridian
Yeah.
Center, you better be cheering loud for the Colts.
So yeah, myself and the entire Brock hockey team, we're all coming to the game. We're sitting at the goal line in the zone where the Ice Dogs shoot twice. So like in your defensive zone.
Okay.
Um and I went in to pick up the tickets for the boys today in the Ice Dogs office, and I told them I was like, "We're gonna be cheering for Marty and the Colts," and they were like booing me and stuff. And then as I walk out, one of the players on the Ice Dogs was like, "Oh, like I love your podcast." Like as I was walking out of the thing, like didn't say his name or anything, but and he said he saw my car with the Showbound license, so I was like pretty pumped. So maybe you're gonna get some Showbound chirps in Niagara on Thursday.
Yeah, I'll just have to embrace it. I know it's coming from a good place. Everyone loves the pod, of course. Come
Yeah.
on. How could
It's
you not?
it's good for the
Actually,
league too. Like it's more publicity on everybody, really.
yeah, bro. And actually, it's funny you say that because I was sitting in the car with Taber and Lemmer today, and we were talking about the pod. And those are two guys on Barry for anyone who doesn't know. And Tabs looks at me. He goes, "Yeah, like you guys have a great social media presence. Like whoever's doing that's doing a great job." I'm like, "Yeah, that's Rask. He's doing unbelievable." So yeah, just a little showbound bump for you on your hard work and effort.
Let's go. Actually, this one was funny. I called you. I was gonna call you and tell you, but you didn't pick up. And this was coming out of practice like last week, maybe Thursday or Friday. Um, there was a big tournament. Yeah, it was Friday because there was a big tournament for like St. Catharines minor hockey at our practice rink. And as I'm walking out, like the rink was packed. I'm walking out, and this dad is there with his kid, like outside my Showbound car, and they're like, "Oh, are you Ethan Cardwell? My son loves your podcast." And I was like, "No, like I'm Michael. I'm the other guy on the podcast." And it was funny, but he was like, "Oh, like my son's a big Ethan Cardwell fan, like all this," and I was like, "Yeah, like so am I." But that's the second time I think I've been mistaken for you.
And we look nothing alike too. That's you have facial hair, brown or black hair, and I'm actually I do have a bit of a beard right
You got
now.
a little peach fuzz going.
And that leads me into my next thing. I was gonna ask you, and I'm just gonna ask the pod in general. I'll just ask all of our viewers and fans and stuff. Like, should I get a haircut? I'm just kind of debating it right now. Sorry, I just those Fets calling me on the other line, and
Oh, humble.
yeah, humble brag, NHL player, whatever. No, I'm kidding, but yeah, I need some thoughts. Do I get a haircut or not? But
You talking like full cut, like chop it short?
no, just a nice trim, or do I let it keep going? I have sick flow coming out of the helmet pretty soon. But you know what? Leave a comment on the Insta if you really care enough. But I
Let's
want
start
to talk about,
encouraging comments again. I remember I used to do that and they were buzzing, and then I stopped.
yeah.
Okay, everybody has to comment this week. Every single person, do it.
Okay. Yeah, we really appreciate that. And I want to talk about our guest quickly.
Yeah,
It's a huge episode this week. And I'll let you take it away because you know all the stats and everything.
yeah, I got him. I got him here. So, Nate Thompson, Philadelphia Flyers, been around on many teams. I think a lot of our fan questions were more Montreal questions. So, if we have a lot of Montreal listeners, he obviously played for the Montreal Canadiens. But Nate Thompson, he's in his 15th NHL season, over 800 games played, and still going. And he said he doesn't see himself stopping anytime soon. And it was a cool interview. I mean, for one, big name guy, and his story isn't one of like all glamour and success. Like, yeah, he's played in the league such a long time, but he's been waived and traded and played on so many different teams. And we get into a bit. He struggled with substance abuse and alcohol abuse, and we talk about that. And it was interesting. It was just a fully loaded interview with a lot of different stuff. So I think it's a really good one to get out there.
And yeah, like you said, he's been around. He's a stand-up guy too, to take the time to obviously come on the podcast and then to be open about his story and kind of the trials and tribulations he's had throughout his amazing career. It's pretty special to hear, and we can't wait to get that one to you guys here.
Yeah, and guys like him who like he doesn't have to come on this podcast at all. Like, we're nothing to him. And I remember thinking this way with Ryan Strome as well, because both these guys were just so nice to us, and it's just like, I don't know. I'm grateful for those guys and everyone on the podcast, but especially a guy like that who, how many podcasts people are probably like blowing up his email or DMs and stuff to try to get him on. And it gets annoying probably for a guy like him who has to do media every single day. So for him to just hang out with us for like 40 minutes, it's really nice of him.
Yeah, a classy move by a guy who's been around for so long. And like you said, yeah, it doesn't have to do that, but just the type of guy that wants to and takes the time to do it. So it means a lot to us.
Yeah, and we will send it over in a bit. I just want to say too, like the other stuff I have going on now, really nothing too exciting other than like I'm in this corporate finance class right now. For those who don't know, I'm doing my MBA, and I have an exam. Yeah, humble master's student, but yeah, I have an exam Friday for this corporate finance course. It's so hard, and I'm just nervous. Like every day I wake up, like knowing I'm one day closer, and I'm just scared. I'm doing well in the course, but it's worth a lot, and I'm not too confident in the exam, and that's just been on my mind a lot. And I'm, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, dude. I don't know either, because like I love like courses that are just like 10% exam, 20% exam, and the rest is just like your assignments. You can just tee yourself up that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I know the pressure you're under right now. It's definitely a tough go for you. So I wish you all the best on that one. And I might need your help here soon, because my mom's been harping on me to start taking some online courses myself. I've already finished a few university classes, and I'm only taking electives, just stuff that I'll be able to insert in whatever program I decide to go into at some point one day. So maybe in the next few weeks, because she wants me to start in November. So it's coming up, and I'm not looking forward to it, but you know what? It is what it is. I got to get an extra education at some point.
Yeah, I'll be your tutor. I'm basically doing it for all the kids on the Brock team now, because most of them are in like the sport management program, which I graduated in. So they're always asking me questions and and it's actually kind of fun helping people out. It makes me sound like such a nerd, but the stuff we learn here is so interesting that I actually don't mind just like going down and talking about it with everybody and helping. So I got you, and all our listeners will start commenting homework advice and stuff for you.
Yeah, you guys will have to walk me through my 6-month course. You get me through the hard times.
Yeah. And I guess I think let's send it over to Nate Thompson now. Here we go. And now we are pleased to be joined by Philadelphia Flyers Nate Thompson. Nate, how's it going, man?
Good, boys. Thanks for having me.
So I saw a bit of the game last night, and against the Kraken, you absolutely tuned Nate Bastian, big fight. So can you tell us what happened there? You looked like you were pretty mad.
Yeah, I think in a fight you're supposed to get a little bit angry, right? I was just, sticking up for, Drew and our team. They kind of had an altercation in the second period. So, we've talked about it since the beginning of the season that we were going to, stick up for each other and make sure that, our building's a tough place to come into and that you're going to be held accountable no matter what. So I was just trying to do that.
Yeah. And you had a couple other 10-minute misconducts. Like what happened that game?
I don't know what I got the 10-minute misconducts for. I guess I was just not in the good graces of the officials last night. I don't know. I guess they just had enough of me and just wanted me out of the game. So, what are you going to do?
Yeah. How are things going in Philly so far?
It's been great. It's a great group of guys. I've really, really enjoyed my time here when I was here before in my short stint. So to come back and, play with the same group of guys, core group of guys, and be familiar with everyone in the organization has been nice. And then, on top of that, it's a great city. It's it's a sports town. It's a blue collar place, and the people here are very passionate about their team. So it's been a lot of fun.
Do you find that you fit in well there, being from Alaska yourself?
I think so. I mean, I think it's very similar in the fact that Alaska or Anchorage, where I'm from, is a very blue collar place, and I think it's the same thing goes here. Everyone works hard. It's blue collar, and and I think maybe the way I play, people can kind of relate to that a little bit more. I play hard. I try and work as hard as I can every shift, and kind of have the mentality of we'll do whatever it takes. And I think Philadelphia fans appreciate players like that in every aspect or in every sport.
Yeah, and I'm just going back to the Alaska thing. It's more on the radar now, I'd say, for hockey, but probably when you're growing up there, it must have been you might not be thinking you're going to get a look. So can you tell us about growing up playing hockey there and when you kind of realized you could make the NHL, you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was a place that it was a great place to grow up. First off, and hockey is the big sport, the main sport up there. And when we played up there, I mean, for us to get exposure or to get basically seen, we had to travel. We had to travel to Canada. We had to travel to, Michigan, Minnesota, out east, all the places that have, the good hockey. And, so for me, I think, that was kind of my time to shine is whenever we traveled and played those tournaments. And, I didn't really know, I always wanted to play in the NHL, but I didn't know it would be a reality probably till I was, I got to maybe 16, 17 when I went to junior and played there in Seattle in the Western League. And still, it never comes to reality until it's right there in front of you. It always one of those things where, I want to play in the NHL, but I'm not sure, it's a dream, but you don't really think it's going to be a reality. And I think when I got to junior and had a good year, my first year, it was one of those things where I was like, all right, well, maybe this is a possibility. And then I got drafted next year, and kind of the rest is history after that.
Yeah, and we kind of want to dive into your draft here and the team that started you off in the NHL, and that's the Boston Bruins. You're a 6th-round pick in 2003. So do you mind just telling us a little bit about that draft, if you were there, and kind of how the day you went for you and the moment you were picked?
Yeah, that year, actually my draft year, going into my draft year, I was ranked pretty high, and in my draft year, I had just an absolutely awful year, um, and then kind of salvaged it a little bit in playoffs. I had a really good playoffs that year in junior, and um, I think I was ranked anywhere between like the third and fourth round, and decided not to go to the draft. It was in Nashville that year. It was probably the best decision because my agent told me at the time, you don't really want an 18-year-old kid waiting around, not sure if he's going to go and having to wait maybe go the second day. So I stayed at home, and Pete from Alaska, we're always 2, 3, 4 hours behind time change. So I got the call the next day after the first two rounds. I got the next at like 7 a.m. in the morning. I got a call, and it was from the head scout of the Boston Bruins that I got drafted in the 6th round. And at that point, I didn't really care where I got drafted. You're just happy you got drafted. I'm a kid from Alaska that got drafted to the NHL, and that was a huge deal to me. So it was a pretty special day to be able to, get a phone call at home with family and friends, and kind of celebrate it with them. So it was nice.
Yeah, that definitely makes it special. And I mean, we kind of ask everyone who's been a draft pick and been through the draft process on this podcast if, like, obviously playing in junior, you're going to have interviews with teams and stuff. Did you have any crazy things that happened in any meetings?
Not really. I think because I was more of a mid-level round guy, I had a couple talks with a few different scouts from different teams, but nothing really was like, I don't have any crazy stories of them, trying to question my character or call me out or, anything of the sorts. And you hear different stories of horror stories from other guys having their interviews, but mine was pretty. I don't think mine was too exciting. Like I said, I wasn't a super high pick, so I don't think I was more of a. I guess let's take a gamble on this kid in the 6th round and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, paid off. You made everyone look good. Every team you kind of been through now, and obviously you were the captain in Providence, where you played there for a few years. And do you mind just telling us about how your first few years of pro went and how you got your feet wet at that level?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, so coming out of junior, obviously when in junior I was playing in all situations, playing power play, playing obviously still playing penalty kill, all those things that that you do in junior. But I obviously had a bigger role. But when I got to pro, I kind of had to learn in my first full year that I'm gonna have to change my game. I'm gonna have to find my niche, to try and make it to the next level. So I try and make it to the National Hockey League, and for me, it was doing all the third and fourth line things that you're supposed to do, and also getting into the occasional fight if I had to, whatever, if it was sticking up for a teammate or changing momentum of the game, all those things. And I really wasn't used to that because I was coming out junior where I didn't really do much of that. And so my first full year pro, I kind of had to learn how I was going to make it to the NHL. And my first full year, I never got called up. The second year, I ended up playing like I think 4 games that year. And really, like I said, it was just kind of a development, and the American League it's a developmental league, and you're really kind of learning about yourself and how to make it. And then, going into my third year, it was really when I kind of really came out of, it was kind of like my coming out, I think, in pro. After my third year, I had my best year statistically. I was a captain of the team. We had the best team in the league. And, but for whatever reason, I never got called up that year, in my best year. And it's funny how things work out, but, that was essentially my last year in the American League, and, never looked back after that. So, it was one of those things I just kind of kept working and knew that eventually get my chance, and I did, and the rest is history. So,
yeah, and you talk about getting the call in your second year, and yeah, we have it jotted down here. You were right. You got 4 games that year, and we just want to know kind of how was that for you, getting first off your first NHL game, and then just kind of that short stint. Maybe it was over a period of time, I don't know, or if it was all together, but how that was for you.
Yeah, every game I played that year was all pretty much 1-day call-ups. So it was, I got called up that morning and then basically sent down back that night. So they were quick. Just because Providence is so close to Boston. So, my first game, I remember it to this day. Obviously, we played against Buffalo. And that was when Buffalo was loaded. They had Drury, Briere, and Campbell, and Ryan Miller, and they were just, a Finnegan off. And like they were the best team in the league that year, I think. And I think we ended up losing the game like 5-2, and I think I played like 2 minutes. And it was different then. I mean, the game has changed. It wasn't a young man's game then. When young guys came in, that's what you played. You played like 2 or 3 minutes, and that was it. And that's how they kind of eased you into it. Where now it's changed. These young guys are coming in and they're making an impact right away, and coaches are playing them right away. So it was a lot different. But nonetheless, it was my first NHL game, and it was a experience of a lifetime. I remember pulling into the parking lot. I was there pretty early because I, drove up from Providence, and I got out of my truck and pulled my gear out of my bag. And car pulls up next to me, pretty nice car, and Ray Bork steps out of the car, which is pretty cool. He came over, wished me luck, and said, have a good game tonight. I know it's your first one. And so that was one of those things that you always remember. First NHL game. So, it wasn't like I was a huge impactful player that night, but either way, it was my first game, and it was something pretty cool.
And then how did things end up with you and Boston, like your relationship there? Because obviously you end up going to the Islanders, but do you think they just gave up on you too soon or something like that?
No, it wasn't even giving up on me. It literally was just a roster thing. I was a guy that was still on a 2-way deal. And they had guys on the roster that didn't really want to move, and I was the easiest guy to send down, and just it really transaction thing, and they didn't want to lose me. I think it might have been one of those things where, looking back on it now, that they were just sending me down basically just to clear things up to probably bring me back up again. But they knew, I had to put waivers, and I remember one of the guys telling me, like, when they sent me down, they're like, we don't want to send you down, but we have to. And they basically said, you're not going to clear, you're going to get picked up. So that was a good feeling, to know that they wanted me, but at the same time, I knew I probably wasn't going to clear, and I was going to get picked up by somebody. And then I got picked up by the Islanders the next day, and that was it.
And that's kind of where you became a solidified NHL player, really kicked off your NHL career. So can you tell us about playing and living there? And especially, I feel like on the living end of it, for you being from Anchorage and stuff, going to a big city, how was that transition?
Yeah, it was a culture shock for me. Living in Providence and stuff, it was a smaller city, nothing like, living in Long Island or going to New York City. So yeah, it was a big learning curve for me. And I think I was only 23 at the time, 23, 24 around there. Yeah, so I was, still kind of a young guy trying to figure it out, and just trying to get my feet wet in the NHL and trying to make an impression and stick. So yeah, it was a lot. It was the same thing, I guess. It was comparable to playing in the minors and coming in and trying to like figure things out and figure myself out and trying to like, be a National Hockey League player, be a full-time NHLer. So it was definitely a place where I learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about how I needed to play, and kind of just had to, mature too at the same time. So, but it was a fun place to play. We weren't very good while I was there, but I was still playing in the NHL and still learning, and it was a good place for me to start.
How did your first goal go down, and who'd you score it on?
My first goal was on Henrik Lundqvist. Yeah, it's a good one. It's actually definitely probably one of my nicer goals in my career. It was at MSG. It was shorthanded too, and I think it was on a 2-on-1 with Franz Nielsen, and passed it over. He shot it, went off. He shot it up to the post of the crossbar, but the puck went straight up in the air, and I cut in front of the net, and I batted it out of the air into the net.
Wow.
That was my first NHL goal. So it was one of those things where it was like kind of a highlight goal, and it was my first one. So, and it was shorthanded and at MSG. So it was one of those things where like, it doesn't get any better than that. And we ended up winning the game 2-1. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable story for a first goal. I mean, when you start that high, you can only go down, which is the only bad part. But
Yeah.
you kind of go through the same process again, but you land in Tampa Bay, if I'm right. And do you want to just kind of tell us how that process went? You going to Tampa Bay?
Yeah, it was. It was one of those things where just, Islanders. I think they were in a huge transition phase, and everyone has plans, right? When you're going through these transition phases, and they were not good for so long, but trying to be good, and things weren't going right. So I think they were trying to go in a different direction, and I, just nature of the beast, nature of the business, and got put on waivers, and luckily again, got picked up by Tampa. And I think that's really where, I definitely stuck when I was in New York, but I think I established myself when I got to Tampa, and really kind of came on and kind of made a name for myself, really. Maybe not when I first got there, but that next full year, when our team went to the conference finals against Boston, my first full year there, or would have been my second season there. But yeah, I think that is when I really kind of like, all right, I can be a really good NHL player for a good while in this league. And I think that was when I got to Tampa, is really when I kind of established myself.
Yeah, and you did find a home there for 5 years, and even earned a letter in your jersey. So, just like, what was it like playing there? Like, was it just more comfortable, or were you just like, "Hey, I've played in this league long enough, I gotta get moving here"? Or how do you kind of feel? You just started to thrive.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of different things that go into it. I think I got a great opportunity. We had a great group of guys. You kind of grew up. We had some young guys and a mixture of older guys, but we kind of grew up with some of the guys like Teddy Purcell, and then Stamkos and Hedman were younger guys, and so we were all kind of like growing up together in a way. And and Guy Boucher was the coach the next year, my second season there, and he gave me a great opportunity. And when a coach has confidence in you, and he plays you in all situations to help you succeed, usually good things happen, and that's kind of what happened. And obviously we had a good team. We had good line mates, we had good teammates, and I got to learn from guys like Marty St. Louis, and Matthias Olund, and all these guys, and really just kind of just took off from there, and to be able to kind of figure things out. And I'm still close friends with a lot of those guys to this day, and we had a really great group. And it was definitely a highlight of my career is playing in Tampa, for sure.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me into my next question here, and we're gonna ask about St. Louis and Le Cavier, and like how special was it to play with those guys, and what separated them from the rest of the pack?
Well, I think I'll start with Vinny. Vinny was he's just a horse. Like, he was like, when he turned it on, especially in the playoffs, he just had like this willpower that my puck and no one's taking it from me. He was one of those guys as a gamer, and there's a reason why he was as good as he was for so long. And then, and then Marty, a Hall of Famer for a reason. He was, he always pushed the pace. I think the biggest thing that impressed me about Marty is he was never satisfied. He taught me that, and always kind of told me what, how can you evolve yourself as a player? How can you get better? You do these things, but like, how can you make yourself better still? And Marty was always trying to do that. And even when he was at his age then, and doing what he was doing, And not only that, but the way he practiced. Marty was the hardest working guy in practice, and he was pushing the pace every single day. And this is a guy that's won a cup. He was MVP of the league, and you would think a lot of guys would think, well, what else does this guy have left to prove? Well, that's just the way Marty was wired. He just pushed himself every single day, and which inevitably pushed all of us too. So Marty is a guy that really kind of it put things in perspective when I saw it, was able to watch him every single day and play with him. And he was a great teammate. He's a great guy. And, we still talk to this day.
Yeah. And there's one other guy that we had a million questions on our Instagram from fans kind of asking about Steven Stamkos. And like you just said, growing up with him there, and he's a young guy. Obviously, he's going to be very gifted coming in, but did you see the leadership qualities in him and stuff like that right away as a young kid?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Stammer was, he was a mature guy he was 21 when I was playing when we first started playing together. And he was one of those guys that he didn't carry himself like that. He carried himself as a guy that's been in the league a long time. And I think that helped a lot too, him playing with Marty and Benny and those guys, him having Marty as his line mate for so long really kind of really helped him out. But at the same time, I give Stammer a ton of credit. He's just one of those guys that he gets it. He's a guy that works. He's, he leads on and off the ice. And he just kind of has a presence about him that, he's a guy that you want to follow. And you could see it from a young age that, he was going to be the captain of that team for a long time.
I'm curious about the 2012 lockout year where you ended up going to the ECHL and playing for the Alaska Aces. So first of all, just how did that decision go for you to play there? Obviously going home, and then really how was it playing in the ECHL?
Yeah, it was kind of a last minute thing. I went home in the fall basically to go home because I knew I was able to, because there was a lockout. And, around my year, I did some fishing while I was home, and Rob Murray, who was the head coach of the Aces at the time, he was my assistant in Providence, and obviously, and some of my friends obviously were on the team as well, playing for the Aces. And a couple of guys I grew up with at home, hometown guys playing for the team, and asked me, "Hey, do you want to skate with us?" Because I was skating anyways, to stay ready. So I ended up skating with them in their training camp, and next thing I know, I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'll just start off with you guys. So I ended up just skating with them in training camp. And then next thing you know, I was in the Alaska Aces, and I played with them for about 2 months. And it was awesome. I mean, I guess the reason why I did it was just like, when am I ever going to get a chance to do this and to be able to perform in front of my mom and dad, in front of my friends, play at the arena that I grew up watching college and my under pro team there. So it was a great experience, and something that I can say that I always was able to play at home in front of my family and friends.
Was there any funny stories, just maybe culture shock, going back to that, about the different level?
Oh yeah, big time. I remember our first road trip. I can't remember where we were. I think we were in Utah or something. And obviously, you're flying in the NHL, you're flying charter planes. It's nice. You're pretty spoiled, but we were flying commercial, and, you're sitting in regular economy seats, middle seats, all that stuff. So that was a big difference. But I remember after a pregame skate, we're walking out of the rink, and it's walking distance to the hotel, and I get undressed, showered, everything, get changed, and kind of say to the rest of the guys, I'm like, "Hey, where's the pregame meal at?" And they're like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, where do we eat?" They're like, "Dude, we go to Chili's. It's 2-for-1 pasta there. That's where we go to get pregame meal." I'm like, "All right, that's what we're doing. Let's go to Chili's," or wherever it was across the street from the hotel. So that's what I was like, all right, yes, I am not in the National Hockey League anymore. I'm definitely in the coast. So, but it was fun. It was a good way to bring me back to my roots.
Then after that, we'll kind of continue on your NHL path here, and you get dealt to the Ducks. How was that for you, going to Anaheim?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I lucked out. Um, I got traded in the summertime, and same, we had a couple years, pretty good years. Example, I was there, but same thing. There was kind of transition phase, and same thing. I was part of that transition phase. I got moved out of there, but I was lucky because I got traded to a team in Anaheim that was pretty stacked, and we 2 out of the 3 years I played in Tampa or played in Anaheim, we were in the conference finals. So, all the years I was there, we were really, really good and won a lot of games. It was a lot of fun. I loved my time in Anaheim. So I was very fortunate to get traded to a really good team and a great place to live as well.
Yeah, and that I'm kind of curious here. Obviously, Tampa gets high praise for a place to live. Anaheim, a bunch of cities in the NHL. But for you, I know we're going to talk about some other places, but where was your favorite place to play?
Everyone always asks me that, but it's tough. I can't really narrow it down because every city, everywhere I play has different vibe, I guess. But I mean, Tampa was awesome. Getting to play in California for both teams, LA and Anaheim, was great. But then, playing for a Canadian team like Montreal, I mean, you can't really beat that, right? Playing for the Montreal Canadiens, it's pretty special. But then now, I mean, playing here for the Flyers is pretty awesome too. It's a pretty passionate sports town. So I've been pretty lucky. That's why I always say I can't really say one because I've been pretty fortunate to play for some pretty cool teams.
Yeah, and so in the last couple of years, you made stops in, like you said, LA, Ottawa, Montreal, and Winnipeg, and now Philly, obviously. So just what's it been like the last couple of years being on, not really having a solidified home, I guess, and maybe the struggles that have come with that?
Yeah, it's kind of been the norm for me the last few years. But that's kind of the nature of the business, nature of the beast, especially when I'm at the point I am in my career, and I'm obviously trying to win a Stanley Cup, and knowing that, for me, it's not going to be long-term deals for me anymore. But I still love the game, and I love everything about it, and I still want to keep playing. I'm still enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun. And when I look back on it, it's I never look at it as, oh geez, I'm getting traded all the time. This sucks. It's, for me, it's fun. Like, it's a journey, man, and it's awesome to be able to play for some different teams and teams that want me to play for them and help them win. So, I think, and then obviously the last couple of years have been kind of weird years, with everything that's going on with COVID. So it's nice to be back in Philly and in a little bit more normal now. So I guess for me, I just look at it as I'm lucky. I'm still able to be playing and still getting a chance to play on different teams is pretty awesome.
Have you thought about like life after hockey yet at all?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've thought about it a lot. I know that I'll probably stay in the game in some capacity. I don't know what that'll be. I don't know exactly what I want to do yet as far as in hockey, but I know I definitely want to stay in the game just because I don't see myself doing anything else. I love the game too much. I don't think I can just be done with it. That's not me. So, but at the same time, I still feel like I have a lot left in the tank, and I still want to keep playing and play as long as I can.
All right, I like that. Now, touchy subject that I was almost scared to bring up, but you've been open about it in the past about substance abuse and your struggles with alcohol, and I was wondering if you could touch on where you're at now with that and the road that kind of led you to where you are now.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm sober a little over 5 years. I just celebrated 5 years, and I tell everyone this. I wouldn't be talking to you right now, or would be playing if I wasn't sober. So that's a big part of my journey. It's a big part of my career. A big part of the steps I've made to keep playing is, I got sober to save my life first off, but it definitely saved my career. I wouldn't be playing hockey. I don't know what where I would be if I wasn't. So, it's one of those things where, yeah, I mean, I was a mess, and I was going down a bad road, and I was desperate. I needed help, and that's what I did. And now I'm definitely a better version of myself. And I think the reason why I have been open about it is, and it took me a bit to do that. It took some time, but the reason why I have been open about it is because it's bigger than me. If I can help just one person that's struggling and not sure about finding a way to get help, maybe my story can help that person. And if that person goes out there and asks for help, that's a win in my book.
Yeah, and you see it too now with the Carey Price thing, another person you played with, and that's an example where his story now has, I see a lot of people online are like, well, if this can happen to Carey Price and he can admit it, then I can, make a change in my life. And I think as a professional athlete in the NHL, like, it's a huge platform to make a difference, like you said. So it's really commendable. It's really awesome that you were able to do that. And 5 years sober is pretty sweet. So congratulations on that, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, I think people kind of forget. They think that, like, we're athletes, guys are making millions of dollars, but, these guys are invincible. They don't have problems off the ice. They don't have, substance abuse problems or mental health problems, like, yeah, we do. We're just as fucking similar as we are to any normal, whatever. We're all normal, we're all going through the same shit. So I think people just sometimes forget about that. So it's always huge when guys come out and are open about it and try and help everybody by just sharing their story.
Yeah, we appreciate you kind of sharing your story a little bit today. And now on to a different topic. I know a lot of people know you've made a lot of money in your NHL career over the years. So we're curious, how do you like to spend it, or what do you like to do with your money?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm a guy that's overly flashy or anything like that. I think, I guess if I'm spending it on anything, it's probably, I love food. I'm a foodie guy. I like going to nice dinners, I guess, with the guys, or, I like to travel too, but I wouldn't say it's anything out of the ordinary where I'm like, buying, crazy cars or anything like that, or, but I think for me, it's, traveling. I like to fish in the summertime. I like to golf. I mean, I guess probably money goes to that. I would imagine a lot of my money goes to golf in the summertime. So that's probably a big chunk of it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's, I just like enjoying time with family, friends, and traveling. That's probably where the money goes.
Yeah. Can you talk about Gavin Group, how they help you out? They're partners of ours, and kind of how they're helping you on your path to basically not really need to work after hockey if you don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm the guy I'm not the type of guy that's probably not going to work. I'll have to, because I'm just that type of person. I can't sit around. But yeah, Gavin Group's been great. I mean, they, if spending too much at some certain times, they'll let me know, which is what I need to know sometimes. But it's really good. I mean, to have, I highly recommend for any young guy coming into the league, turning pro, having someone to help you, manage your money and learning, all the ins and outs of what you need to know, and saving and all those things. In the beginning of my career, I didn't really know about all that, and I wish I did. And I'm glad I do now. I'm glad I've had them for a little while now, and they've been helping me out. But I think every young guy should definitely have that. If they have that resource, they should use it. So the Gavin Group's has been instrumental for me.
Yeah. And
Rask, quickly, before you go into the fan questions, you keep mentioning fishing and stuff, and Obviously with Forster being in Philly and me being pretty close friends with him, how's your relationship with him? And then like, have you gone fishing with him? Because I know he loves that.
No, I heard he likes to fish. Guys were telling me that at training camp. But that's the first time I met him. I didn't really get a chance to hang out with him too much, just because I think we were in different groups. So, but I think he played maybe 1 or 2 games with him. But he seems like a great kid. He can really shoot the puck. I think he's gonna be a really good player. But yeah, I heard that he went fishing while he was here somewhere. So I overheard that. So. But maybe down the road, if I'm still here and he's here, we'll have to get out together and go fishing.
Yeah, he spends more time on the water than he does in the rink, so you'll be liking him there.
Yeah, and I did want to say, going back to Gavin quick, you can check him out at gavingroup.ca. And yeah, we're kind of running out of time, so I'll just give one fan question here that I think should be a funny one. If you were stranded on an island for a month with 3 other players from the Philadelphia Flyers, who would you want them to be?
3 other players stranded. So I need like some guys that are like probably.
They know what they're doing on the island, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna pick like the funniest guys, but that's probably not very smart. I was gonna pick like Lott, Hayes, and like Yandel, but like those guys, those guys are gonna help me get off the island. Trying to think of guys on our team. Maybe Justin Braun would be one of the guys, Minnesota guy that, yeah, I would pick him. And then who else? You know what? Ryan Ellis. Ryan Ellis would be another guy. He's a bit of an outdoorsman guy. He looks like it too.
Yeah, he does.
Who else? One more guy. I would pick James Van Riemsdyk. He's a really, really smart guy. Kind of like, cerebral, very smart. So I pick those 3 guys. If I was stranded, yeah. So those guys probably.
I like that answer. That's a solid one. Yeah, I mean, from me, I just want to thank you for taking the time. It was awesome to hear your story. And Cards, anything?
Yeah, no, it's just a pleasure to have you on this week, and our fans are going to love this one. So we thank you.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Best of luck this season.
All right. Thanks, boys.
All right. I want to thank Nate Thompson for that. It was really good to get that one out there. A guy, obviously, like I've watched, I feel like we've all watched for so long in the NHL. So it was cool having him on our podcast. What do you think, Cards?
Yeah, like we talked about before the interview too, and just yeah, it was awesome, and it was pretty cool to hear from a guy who's been around for so long. I mean, you talk about these guys so often, and you hear about them in the news and in the media so much about why they've been there for so long. You can kind of see like a guy who's willing to do this, take the time. It's just all about being the pro and doing the right things and being a good human, which has kept him in the league for so long, along with his unbelievable skills on the ice,
Yeah. And a guy like him, the thing is, and because I think our listeners might be thinking it too, there was so much more we could have asked and talk about too, but ultimately, like, NHL player, got a family too. We can't just take all his time. So we could have went on for like a couple hours with him with all if we wanted to go in on every player he's played with and all that stuff. But I think, we got to go over his career, and I think it was cool hearing some of his stories and stuff. Now let's give a little Squid Game update quick, I guess. I mean, I finished it, and I know you haven't yet, right?
You know what we'll do? I'll let you. Actually, you know what? You're gonna wait for me, and what we're gonna do, because I got back into it last night. I took a little break. I'm back into it. I'll be done by next week. I know we said that last week, but I'll be done next week. So we'll do our little recap then. But let's talk about the NFL a little bit, and then I want to touch on some NHL topics before we wrap this week up.
Yeah, I mean, we could start with the Bills. So finally, the absolute wagon Buffalo Bills took a loss to the Tennessee Titans last night or Monday night. And the city over here, St. Catharines, was upset. Actually, our trainer at practice today showed up in a Bills jersey, and I was like, why? Like, I've never seen you wear this, and you wear it after a loss. Like, it was
a little
weird,
bit backward.
Yeah, but so the Bills finally lost. Keep the boys grounded, but they'll be back with a win next week. I know.
Yeah. How about the Packers? Do they have a bye week or did they play?
No, they played. They won 24-14 over the Bears. So Packers are also buzzing, man. And the Cowboys pull out a cheeky win too.
How about them Cowboys? That's just what winning teams do. They crush that long field goal, do what they have to do to force OT, and then Dak takes over from there. And CD Lamb was an absolute player this week. So you can't hate on the Cowboys right now. 5-1 going into their bye week. So I'm really excited about it. I'm always wearing my Cowboy merch now and just loud and proud that I'm a huge Cowboys fan. And let's roll into the NHL. And it's a huge slate tonight of games in the NHL. And I'm going to be most looking forward to watching the rivalry of Florida, Tampa versus Florida. We've seen so many heated matches. And now since the playoff series, their first regular season meeting, I believe. Am I right? I don't know.
First regular season. They had a heated one in the preseason.
Where Tipper had 2 goals in a fight that night. So let's see that same energy. Hopefully, obviously Tipper can't listen to this till after his game, but hopefully we can report some good news on Tipper and the Florida Panthers next week on the pod. And I want to quickly just touch on all of our Showbound alumni who made NHL opening night rosters. I know we have a lot of them. Let me know if I miss any, but I'm going to just run through it quickly. Cole Sillinger, Seth Jarvis, Cole Perfetti, William Eklund. I know there's more I'm missing right now. Tell me.
Yeah. Hendrix Lapierre, huge goal too.
Beauty goal.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We say it over and over, but good things come when you hop on the Showbound podcast. So look for Nate Thompson if he's scoring a couple goals in the next few games here. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I've just been watching the Leafs actually, and finally Matthews is back, and decent start to the season for the Leafs. But I think as the season gets going, they're gonna prove to that they're a really good team. And I know nothing really matters to the playoffs. We've seen this a million times with the Leafs, but I think this is the Leafs year, man. At least to get out of the first round. So.
Oh my God, you're an idiot.
You don't think they'll make it out of the first round?
I don't know, man. I don't make any judgments because I'm always wrong, as you know. We've made so many stupid wrong predictions on here, but
we had 6 right predictions in a row to end the season last year. Remember that?
Yeah, so we're on a heater. Okay, let's make a prediction then. Let's make a prediction on the Florida Tampa. Who do you got?
Florida.
Okay, I'll go Florida too, just to ride Tipper and the boys. Yeah, gotta support him.
Yeah, go Florida this week, and then obviously Leafs make it out of the first round, but we'll revisit that one later in the season. And I guess with that being said, Cards, you want to take it away with the usual outro?
Yeah, I'm hopping back in my position on the outro. I know Rask took over last week. Satisfactory at best. So, you know what? It's back in my hands where it should be. The people's person, the speaker of all. And I just want to wish you guys an amazing week. We're coming up to Halloween, so I hope everyone's getting their costumes ready, getting their kids decked out, or whatever you got to do to be ready for that. Carving your
Squid
pumpkin.
Game costumes this year.
Yeah, Squid Game costumes for sure. There's definitely going to be a million of those, and make sure you're getting all your candy, and then hitting up your dentists after, because I know I've had so many cavities over the years just because of Halloween alone. But no. Just everyone be prepared for that. And if you want to tune in on Saturday, CBC game, you should do that. Support me and the rest of the boys. And with that being said, everyone have an amazing week, and we'll chat with you next week.